The ribbon is set to be cut on a new neighborhood in Lebanon, Honor Meadows. On this episode of the Love in Lebanon podcast, we chat with Drew Padell from Suntree Investment Group and Mike Kincaid from Traditions Realty. The pair shares amenity and maintenance details, highlighting what residents can expect when they call Honor Meadows home. Episode 190 of the Love in Lebanon podcast starts now.
Welcome to the Love in Lebanon podcast, highlighting all the great things happening in Lebanon, Indiana. Have an idea for an episode? Send an email to loveinlebanon@lebanon.in.gov.
Hey, and welcome to episode 190 of the Love in Lebanon podcast. I'm Joe LePage, the City of Lebanon Communications and Community Development Director. A lot of fun things are happening throughout our community, a lot of dirt being turned, a lot of things opening up, a lot of exciting additions to that community that we live in, and one of those additions, Honor Meadows. We've kind of documented the growth of that drone flying over top. We've shown some pictures of it being built. Now we're nearing the time for it to be open. Got a couple guys who are involved in the process here. We've got Drew Padell. He is the Chief Operating Officer of Suntree Investment Group. And we've got Mike Kincaid wearing a variety of hats, real estate, city council, kind of all the above, longtime Lebanon guy. Drew, thanks so much for being here. Appreciate it.
Joe, thanks for having me. An absolute pleasure.
Mike, thanks for staying in town and being with us.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
So, Drew, how your perceptions of Lebanon so far, and how did this whole Honor Meadows thing happen? Because you guys weren't there from the start, but you're there for the finish and beyond.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Honor Meadows kind of, fell in our lap. It's not our first property in Indiana. We have a property in Indianapolis. It's River West Flats. It's an apartment building in downtown Indianapolis. We've had that for about 2 years. Had some great experiences there. Met some great people. When we first took that property over, it was managed by a third-party management company. And things just weren't going the way we wanted to go. We're big on community, giving back to the community and having those relationships with our residents, and customer service is what we thrive on. And unfortunately, that wasn't there. So we made the decision probably in early spring to venture off into the management world of our own management company. And we opened up Suntree Management. Our message is very simple. We're here to serve the community and serve our residents. So in that building, we felt that, Indianapolis gave something to us, and we wanted to give something back. And when this project fell in our lap, we looked at it from multiple angles, and one of the biggest angles is we wanted to give the city of Lebanon and the people of Lebanon the opportunity to experience home ownership without the burdens that come along with it, whether it be the big down payment, the interest rates that are skyrocketing, all over the country, where people today they just can't swing it. Things are just, too high. The price of goods are too high. And that was the biggest thing for us when we looked at it, was we can offer somebody a home where they can call their own, even though it's not technically their own, but they can make it their own while still having the convenience of apartment style living.
And everybody, you may be listening to Drew talking and you're like, wait a minute, he doesn't have the same Midwestern drawl that I may have and you may have as well. What was it about? And New Jersey is where you call home. What is it about Indiana where you're looking at these properties and not just wanting to kind of oversee them? Because we're chatting here in person. You're not on the phone. You're not on a Teams meeting, things like that. What was it about Indiana that not only attracted you to the first property, but being willing to have now a second property here in Lebanon just up the road from Indy?
The sense of community that Indiana brings, it's one of those small town, Lebanon especially, it's one of those small town feelings. It's funny, when I first drove through Lebanon, me and my wife, she loves the Hallmark movies. Oh. And when I drove through, I said to my wife, I said, it gives me that Hallmark vibe. Like, I could just imagine Christmas time here with all the lights and everything. And just through talking to people and going into different businesses and shops, and just the sense of pride that the people have for the city of Lebanon. And we just wanted to help grow that. And we wanted to, become a part of that community and share the same sentiment for the city that everybody else has, and just help the growth of Lebanon in general.
Drew, how do you describe a neighborhood within our community like Honor Meadows? It's narrow homes. It's kind of like a shotgun house almost. It's got the garage there with it. How do you classify that, and how would you describe that to somebody who's maybe never seen the pictures and are listening to this for the first time?
So I would basically say, it's a single family home, fully detached, 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bath. It comes with all brand new stainless steel appliances. You have your washer and dryer on the second floor for the convenience of, not having to lug the laundry downstairs and then lug it back up. And, it's a great property, brand new construction, I'm sure, as everybody knows. So to me, that's one of the bigger things of our selling points is that you're not getting a house that somebody's lived in for 10, 15 years and they've had pets run through and all the things that come along with someone who's already owned that, had that property. You're getting a brand new home. And I think that's one of the benefits of it, whereas, you're the first person in that home. It's a great block. It's a long block. We know that. But yeah, that's how I would best describe it.
And Mike, we talked about you wearing a number of hats for this particular podcast, putting on your real estate hat here. What is it about Honor Meadows that made it attractive for you guys at Traditions Realty is where you hang your hat, pun intended, with all the hats you wear. What made it attractive for you to get involved with Drew and the team to be able to kind of oversee Honor Meadows and help market that within the community?
Well, I thought I believe it's a great opportunity for Traditions Realty to become one of the leaders in leasing. And I mean, when you get the responsibility to lease 54 houses, that's not a small thing. And the fact that folks will have an opportunity to get in that home for the first time and be able to, experience that home ownership and then maybe go out, save some money, maybe go out and then buy their own home.
And is this, now putting on your Lebanon resident hat, is that kind of what you're hoping as not only a city councilman, but someone who's lived here all your life? Is it something that you're hoping for folks to be able to do to kind of level up who they are and how they grow and kind of stay in Lebanon, maybe start here and then level up if they choose to do that?
Yeah, I mean, everybody has to start somewhere. And if you want, maybe you don't know that you want to be in a house. You've been in an apartment your entire life. So this is an opportunity for you to experience that.
Absolutely. Everybody, we're talking with Drew Padell and we're talking with Mike Kincaid here on episode 190 of the Love in Lebanon podcast, taking a closer look inside Honor Meadows. And so, Drew, we kind of talked about how the home itself lays itself out, but you guys have kind of dangled a few carrots with the maintenance of the property when it comes time to where we are right now on the calendar as things are getting colder. And we know that snow and ice and all those things will one day be falling here someday soon, hopefully not too soon. I just dropped a different S-bomb, a snow bomb on this podcast, but you guys are making it attractive that way to maybe give the home ownership a try with taking care of some of the maintenance around the home as well, right?
Absolutely. So when you own your own home, there's a lot of things that come along with that. Landscaping, snow removal, things that pop up every single day that come with home ownership. Anybody that owns a home knows it's an endless money pit sometimes. We're taking that burden away from the resident. We'll be handling all landscaping from the front of the house, back of the house, the entire property, snow removal fully covered for the entire property. So all maintenance issues that you would have to handle if it was your own home, all handled by Suntree Management Group.
And why was that important for you guys to be able to offer that, to dangle that kind of carrot? Was it how the neighborhood kind of lays itself out, or wanting to be able to kind of, as you're looking at possible competitors, being able to kind of edge in front of them by adding something extra to make it more attractive?
Yeah, we know through our comp set in the area, there are some beautiful properties out there in the city of Lebanon that definitely offer some amazing amenities. And when you get an apartment, you do get those beautiful amenities. And one of the things that I want to stress with us is, you're not getting an apartment. You're getting a home. And there's a big difference to me when it comes to that. So with that challenge came, what amenities can we offer? Do we have the space to put a big, beautiful pool? And we don't, unfortunately. So we had to start thinking outside the box. What can we offer our tenants to make this more attractive and draw that crowd that's saying, well, hey, X, Y, and Z over here has these amenities. What are you guys offering? So that's where we came up with the idea of, we don't want our tenants or residents to have to worry about snow. If it snows, don't worry about it. We got it covered. If your grass gets a little too long, you don't have to go out on a Saturday and waste your time pulling out the mower and mowing the lawn. We're taking care of all that. Something goes wrong in your unit, your air conditioning goes, your dishwasher goes, whatever it is, don't panic. Suntree Management's got your back.
I can see that on a postcard or on a T-shirt, something like that, a bumper sticker, all that stuff. Now, as you're talking about these things, guys, and kind of throw it out to each one of you, who do you envision living in this neighborhood. Mike, you mentioned those folks that are wanting to try home ownership. Do you see like young professionals as they're commuting to Indy or Lafayette, which Lebanon is famous for, going north or south? Empty nesters that are downsizing? Does it kind of fit in one of those categories, or is it all the above?
Well, I believe that for someone who's looking at Lebanon to possibly move here and raise a family and so forth, I think it's a perfect opportunity for them to try it out by leasing a home and seeing if they really like living in the community. There's going to be a lot of change here in the next 4 years with all the different developments, the Lilly Project and others. So I really see some of those professionals coming, okay, let's try Lebanon, and if we like it, we'll stay, we'll do something different. If we don't, we'll go to Whitestown or we'll go to Zionsville. So I think it's a great trial for someone who's considering moving to Lebanon.
And Drew, with Suntree Investment Group, are you looking for a particular demographic, or are you trying to have a well-rounded kind of younger folks, empty nesters, that type of thing? Or is it anything along those lines?
We want everybody. We love diversity. We love everybody's different in their own way, and we want to welcome everybody, every group, from young people to older people, every whatever class you're from. We want to make everybody feel a part of the community. We're open to everybody.
Yeah, and I'll add to that if someone was wanting to downsize, say they've got a 3,500 square foot house, and
or the kids have left for college
gone,
or whatever, and all that stuff.
Yeah, it'd be similar to maybe like myself, and I might decide, well, I don't want to have to mess with anything anymore, so I might select a smaller footprint. I mean, we go down. Our smallest one is 1,247 square feet, but still 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath with nice finishes. And so I might say, I can live in that space and I don't have to do any of the maintenance work. Or if I was in my 30s and I had one child, then I go, well, let me try that. Let me try this. I'll try this neighborhood first. And then if I need to go out and buy a house, well, then I can move on.
Gotcha. Everybody, we're talking with Drew Padell and also with Mike Kincaid here on episode 190 of the Love in Lebanon podcast, taking a closer look inside the Honor Meadows neighborhood. And you guys are going to be cutting the ribbon here coming up not too long from now, November 13th, something like that.
Right, Wednesday, November 13th, We're going to be doing an open house. The chamber will be there doing the official ribbon cutting. It'll also be a broker's open for other realtors to come and check it out. And because they will be bringing people in, we're going to have it. Everybody gets lunch. So, yeah.
Can't go wrong with a good lunch.
You had me at lunch.
Riley Bennett, he's got a brand new food truck.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah, it's a big, nice one. He's not going to be he's going to make it. He's going to make the food, but he's not going to have his food truck there. And so we'd love for people to come out. Mayor will be there. He'll say a few words, and Drew's going to be there, and he might say a few words.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, everybody listening to this podcast, we strive on being fully transparent. We take questions that we have seen right on social media, and we ask them to the people to hopefully educate you, because we know that going to the keyboard and kind of typing things is a whole lot easier than listening right from the source of some of the things. So if you guys are okay with it, would love to talk about some of the things that we've seen on social media that have come out. In the city's page, when I've shared updates about the project, they'll throw in their own thoughts about the whole thing. And rumor has it there are other pages on Facebook that have been created where they can share ideas and things that they think are facts. So, first one jumps off and they may see, and we're going to share the website, guys. And Drew, you may see the layouts and the lease rates and may get a bit of sticker shock. And oh man, that's so expensive.
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
There's definitely a shock when there's change. And I think as a whole, not even just in Indiana, as a country, there's change happening. Some people, when they first saw our rates, yes, they were very taken back. My message to the community is very simple. We didn't just throw a dart at a board and say, okay, this is what we're charging. There's different variables that came into to come up with our rates. Number one, when the project first started, the price of lumber and materials and labor went through the roof. After COVID, obviously everybody knows everything changed and everything went up in price. So that's the first thing. The second thing is we did a deep analysis of our competition in the area, and through that analysis, is how we came up with our current rates. So where we are right now, even though to some people, I've talked to some people that have come on tours, and they've told me, hey, I'm a long lifer of Lebanon, and I've been here for 20, 30 years, and my apartment now is $800, and I say to them, well, wow, I said, how long have you been there? 20 years. 20 years ago, yeah. 20 years ago, that definitely worked. In 2024, unfortunately, times have changed, and we just are trying to stay competitive within the market. We're not trying to, break the bank for anybody. Again, we want people to come. We want people to live in these homes and have a great experience and make memories and grow their families, whether, like Mike said, they're downsizing and enjoying the later years of their life, or they're just getting started and they're a new married couple with children and saving money to get that dream home that they can finally buy. We want that, and we don't want to price people out, but at the same time, we have to be competitive within our set. There's costs that come along with building of the property, and that's how we got to where we got.
And something tells me that $800 rental rate that they're paying doesn't include a brand new building. That doesn't include a lot of the things that you kind of talked about.
And just another thing, just to show how we're trying to work with the people of the community and keep the pricing as down low as we could. When we first sat down at this property, we looked at all the fees that come along with it, and we said to ourselves, there's a lot of places that charge an upfront security deposit that's equal to your monthly rent. Some people can't do it; they just can't swing it. So we kind of switched gears a little bit, and we're giving our prospective tenants and residents the option to choose between two different options. One would be your traditional security deposit, where you pay a security deposit equal to 1 month's rent, or a non-refundable reconditioning fee, which is much less than what your standard security deposit would be, which right now is going for $799. So for somebody that says to themselves, well, I want to move into an apartment, my rent is $2,000 a month, then I need to come up with the application fee, the admin fee, all these other fees, plus another $2,000 on top for security deposit, can't do it. Well, we're giving you an option now to something that you can do. We want to be flexible. We want to work with our tenants, and we just want to give everybody the best opportunity to experience that home ownership feeling.
And Mike, putting on the hat of someone who's lived in Lebanon 20 to 30 plus years, how have you seen, notice the pause there, pregnant pause. How have you seen that rate where someone that may have been, paying $800 for a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, whatever it is, or bought their first home at $50,000, that type of thing, several decades ago? How have you seen that fluctuate, being a Lebanon resident and then getting into real estate? Oh, by the way, being on our city council as well. Have you seen that supply and demand kind of change over the years here in Lebanon?
Well, there's a principle that all unhappiness is caused by comparison. In order for you to be unhappy with something, you have to be comparing it to something else. So I can tell you that I remodeled my kitchen in my house 2 years ago, and the cost of that remodel of my kitchen was more than the first house that I bought, built brand new in Rolling Meadows right here in Lebanon. So I can't compare those two things. I mean, and if I do, then I become unhappy. I say, I didn't get my value with my kitchen because it cost more than my first house. But that's just the way it is. And it's hard for those of us that have been around for a very long time, and maybe our houses are almost paid for and that type of thing, and our house payment's less than a rental payment. But, that's not the reality right now. My daughter lives in Chicago. She pays $1,600 a month, and my son lives in Muncie, and he's paying about the same. Yeah. So if you've been here a long time and you're comparing with what you used to, spend your money on and the rates and so forth, you're going to be unhappy. If you move here from New Jersey, where probably $2,000 a month might be a good bargain, then or if they move here from California, like some of the people who work for Fluor, they think it's a great rate. Mm-hmm. Gotcha. So,
and Drew, you kind of talked about helping with the fees and being able to help ease that financial burden. You mentioned before we hit record some other things too you guys are doing for first responders and vets and things along those lines. to help with the price tag as well. Can you kind of talk about that too?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, within giving back to the community, and my background outside of the real estate, I had a past history in the medical field, so I have a soft spot for medical workers. I have family members that are law enforcement in New York City, so we want to give back to those residents as well. So we're offering to any educators, any medical workers, first responders, veterans especially, we're going to waive all those upfront fees for anybody that is in any of those categories, as long as they can obviously show us, proof of service. Again, we really sat down and we said to ourselves, how can we truthfully and wholeheartedly give back to the best of our ability? And there's no greater way, in my opinion, than rewarding your first responders and our educators and people like that with these opportunities.
Absolutely. We're talking with Drew Padell. He is the Chief Operating Officer with Suntree Investment Group, and also Mike Kincaid, affiliated with Traditions Realty and also a city councilman and longtime Lebanon resident, here on episode 190 of the Love in Lebanon podcast. Guys, if we can go down the list of some of the things we're helping to educate the public on, parking is another thing. Well, some of the things that we saw on social media was, well, that's great that there's like this garage there, but if I got to park on the street, it looks like I'm in trouble. How is this going to happen? If you guys kind of looked at that and kind of seen those comments and have a way around or way of dealing with some of those people with the issues?
Absolutely. And one of the things that Suntree prides ourselves on is, if there's a problem, we got to come up with a solution. So we learned very quickly that parking was a concern for, people that were touring the property. And with working hand in hand with the great city of Lebanon Council, right now we've acquired on the street parking 22 parking spots. So everybody has a driveway. Every home comes with a one-car garage, and then you have a driveway. So you have 2 spots right there already guaranteed. Now we have we have a plan in place to put 22 spots on the street, and we are also looking in the back of the property. We have some extra space that we're trying to convert that into some kind of parking lot as well to offer more parking for our tenants. Because again, people have, family and they have guests, and we want to make sure that, it's not like, hey, we're going to, Joe's house. Where am I parking?
Yeah, exactly.
No, we want to make sure that this is as stress-free and as easygoing as can possibly be.
Yeah, you got to take an Uber and then
Right, exactly.
park a mile away or whatever.
There won't be an Uber stand at the corner.
Well, Mike, you all but invited everybody to come out to the ribbon cutting on November 13th. What are you hoping for anybody that takes a look at any of the property layouts within Honor Meadows? What are you hoping that they kind of see, or what kind of feels, all the feels, as the kids would say? What are you hoping they feel when they check out the property and walk through the neighborhood?
Well, even if you're not in the market for a home yourself, you're going to run into people who may be in the market. And so I would hope that they would pass that message along, that there's a nice place that you can get.
I'm hoping they see our vision of the home ownership aspect. Just a lot of people that I've been talking to in the within the Lebanon community and just outside in general, every time we have a conversation, the word apartment comes up. It's not an apartment. This is a home, and that's really what I'm hoping everybody sees once they finally come for our grand opening and they see the property and they tour the homes. It's a house, and that's the biggest takeaway for me, is that I want to get that apartment label off of that property, because it's not an apartment, and that's the biggest takeaway for me.
Gotcha. Another thing, the last thing is, people talk about the proximity. The homes are in such close proximity. Oh man, you're going to be able to shake hands with your neighbor, that type of thing. This was all done, through our planning office, and so the distance between homes, all that stuff had to be adhered to when the homes were built. Are you hoping that people kind of, when they have worries like that, they can maybe come and see it for themselves, where it's maybe the picture didn't do it justice, where there is space there? You can't high-five your neighbor through a window as they're maybe perceiving, but there is some space. There is some differentiation between the two homes that are side by side.
I'd like to comment on that
Okay,
first.
yeah, do, Mike.
And when you're in an apartment, you're really close.
You're sharing a wall,
you can
right?
You can hear the other folks. You can hear them above you. You can hear them below you. You can hear them beside you. That's number one. Number two, if you go back in time, houses used to be built really close together in the first place. If you go down Meridian Street in Lebanon, those houses are really close. When they start building houses in the 60s and the 70s, like where my house built in the 70s, they had huge front yards and huge side yards. Well, land got more expensive, so you have to contract and go back the way they were doing it. You go down Washington Street in Lebanon, the houses are closer together. So it depends what you got used to, but at least you're not sharing a wall where you're then sharing the sound effects of your neighbors.
Drew sounds like he's speaking from experience.
I was. I mean, I lived in an apartment for several years. When I got out of
I think
school,
we've all been there. Yeah, absolutely. Get misconception with the spatial issue, Drew. Have you walked beside the homes and kind of seen for yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm usually in town about once a week, if not every other week, and I walk the property every time I'm here. As you said, we followed all guidelines and city planning and everything like that to make sure we were up to code. So from the first look, and especially if you're looking at it from overhead, they do look very, very close together. But yeah, you're definitely not high-fiving your neighbor through a window. That's for sure.
So it could be just someone online maybe making some assumptions and encourage everybody to come and see it for yourself, that type of thing. Well, Drew, Mike, guys, thanks for being here. Really appreciate it. Can't wait to see you on November 13th. We'll have more details on the ribbon cutting itself, and in the body of this podcast, everybody will have the website so you can kind of see some of the floor plans, see the financial breakdown of all things Honor Meadows and beyond. Guys, we appreciate it.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Joe. Appreciate
Thanks for
it.
being here on the pod. And thank you, everybody, for listening to this episode of the Love in Lebanon podcast. More episodes coming your way soon. Take care.